My name is Edward Hale. I am 70, 2 years old now. I live alone in a small apartment in South London. There is nothing special about it. One bedroom. Old furniture. A window that looks out onto a road where buses pass every few minutes. People walk by every day. Couples. Students. Office workers. Life keeps moving. Mine didn't. Every morning I wake up before the alarm. Not because I need to, but because my mind doesn't let me sleep, anymore. When you reach this age, your body slows down, but your memories don't. They get louder. I have carried this story inside me for more than 40 years. I never told it to my parents. Never told it to my friends. Never told it to a therapist. And I never told it to the woman who deserved to hear it the most. Maybe I was a coward. Or maybe I was afraid that saying it out loud would make it real. But it has always been real. And now, with nothing left to lose, I want to tell it. Not to be forgiven, but so someone else doesn't become the man I was. I wasn't always this quiet. In my 20s I was loud, confident, certain. The kind of man who believed the world owed him something. I grew up in Manchester in a working class neighborhood where strength mattered more than kindness. My father worked long shifts at a factory. My mother was a nurse who came home exhausted every night. They love me. I know that now. But love back then came in the form of rules, not conversations. Be tough. Don't show weakness. Men don't hesitate. I listened. To well. At university I discovered something dangerous. That confidence can look like charm and arrogance can look like leadership. People laughed at my jokes. Girls noticed me. Doors opened easily. And slowly, without realizing it, I stopped questioning myself. I assumed I was always right. I met Clara in the university library. She was sitting by the window, surrounded by books, completely unaware of the noise around her. She had dark hair tied loosely behind her head, and the kind of calm that makes everything else feel too loud. She looked and touched by the chaos I lived in. I don't remember what I said to her first. Something clever, probably. Something I thought was clever. She smiled politely, not encouraging. Not dismissive, just kind. That should have told me something. We started talking after that. Slowly. Coffee turned into walks turned into long conversations about nothing and everything. She talked about about wanting a quiet life. About not rushing into things. I pretended to listen. The truth is I liked how she made me feel. Calm. Admired. Trusted. And somewhere along the way I confused trust with permission. Looking back now I can see the moment everything changed. At the time I didn't notice it. Clara began pulling back just slightly. Not running away. Just creating space. She wanted boundaries. I saw rejection. Instead of asking her what she needed, I tried to take what I wanted. I told myself she was confused, that she didn't really mean no, that she would understand later. These are the lies men tell themselves when they don't want to face the truth. I won't describe the details of that night. Not because they aren't important, but because they don't belong to me anymore. What matters is this. She said no more than once, and I didn't listen. The room went silent after. Not peaceful silence. The kind that suffocates you. She didn't scream. She didn't fight. She just looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. And in that moment I became one. I woke up thinking I could fix it. An apology. An explanation. Some words. But consequences don't wait for explanations. The police arrived before noon. I remember sitting in that chair, answering questions, still trying to protect my image of myself. But reality doesn't care what you meant. It only cares what you did. The trial was worse than the prison. People I knew sat behind me, avoiding my eyes. My parents looked smaller than I had ever seen them. Clara never looked at me. Not once. That hurt more than the sentence for years. 4 years to sit with myself. Prison strips you down, not physically, mentally. You have too much time to think. Too much silence. At night the memories replay whether you want them to or not. I tried to justify myself at first. Then I tried to forget. Neither worked. Slowly, painfully understood. SOMETHING. Wasn't a victim of a mistake. I was the result of my choices. When people imagine prison, they think of violence. Fights. Screaming. Noise. But the worst part of prison isn't the noise. It's the quiet. The kind of quiet where your thoughts have nowhere to hide. Every night I lay on that thin mattress, staring at the ceiling, listening to the breathing of men who were just as broken as I was. Some angry, some numb, some pretending they didn't care. I cared. More than I wanted to. I replayed everything over and over again. Not just that night, but all the moments before it. Every time Clara hesitated. Every time she went quiet. Every time she tried to slow things down, and I pushed forward anyway. I realized something slowly, painfully. She didn't stop trusting me in one moment. I broke that trust piece by piece. During my second year inside, I started writing letters. Not to send. Just to survive. I wrote Clara's name at the top of the page, more times than I can remember then. Crossed it out. What do you say to someone after you've taken something from them that can never be returned? I'm sorry felt too small. I didn't mean to felt like a lie. So I wrote the truth, that I had been selfish, that I had confused desire with entitlement, that I had treated her boundaries like obstacles instead of warnings. I never sent those letters. Some words are not meant to reach the person you hurt. They're meant to change the person who hurt them. Time moves differently when you're locked away. Birthdays pass without candles. Seasons change without you noticing. I learned that my father died while I was inside. A heart attack. Sudden. I wasn't allowed to attend the funeral. I sat on my bed that night and cried. Not just because he was gone, but because I knew that if he were alive, he wouldn't recognize the man I had become. Or maybe he would recognize him too clearly. The day I was released, no one was waiting for me. No sign. No hug. No relief. Just a gate opening. Freedom is strange when you don't feel like you deserve it. The city felt louder. Brighter. More impatient. People rushed past me like I was invisible. And maybe I was. I tried to rebuild something that resembled a life. Low-paying jobs. Small rooms. No attachments. I avoided people, especially women. Not because I feared rejection, but because I feared myself. Years later, by pure accident, I saw Clara's name again. An art exhibition brochure. Her name printed neatly beneath a painting. She had become what she always said she wanted to be. A quiet success, a life built on her own terms. I stood there staring at that piece of paper for a long time, not with jealousy, with something heavier. Relief. She survived me. As the years passed, my body aged faster than my mind. My hands started shaking. My back ached constantly. Sleep became shallow and short. But the guilt stayed sharp. People assume time heals everything. It doesn't. Time just gives you fewer distractions. When you're young, you outrun your mistakes. When you're old, they sit beside you every day. I know what some people would say if they heard this story. That it's not my pain to talk about. That I'm doing this to feel better. That something should stay buried. Maybe they're right. But silence helped me once. It helped me ignore boundaries, ignore warnings. Ignore responsibility. Silence protects the wrong people. If you're listening to this and you're young, confident, certain, stop. Listen when someone hesitates. Respect the word no the first time. Understand that attraction doesn't grant permission, and if you've already crossed a line, don't look for forgiveness to save you. Look for accountability to change you. I never married, never had children. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't trust myself to deserve them. My life became small by choice, and maybe that's my sentence. I don't expect sympathy. I don't ask for understanding. I only ask that this story reaches someone before it's too late for them. If Clara ever hears this, and I know she probably won't, I want her to know this. You were not weak. You were not unclear. You were not responsible. I was, and I carry that truth with me every day. Until my last